Hi everyone, I'm Lucy,
Hi, I'm Noelle.
and we're going to be talking about forgetting today. So, we're going to start with a scenario for you. I will be acting as a detective, and Noelle will be acting as a witness. So, Noelle, you saw the bank robbery, right?
Yeah, but I can't remember anything about what I saw. I think I was too scared.
Well, let's see if I can ask you a few questions to try to help you remember. First, I want you to try to imagine you're right back at the bank. What can you feel? What can you hear?
I remember when I first heard the robber yell. I sat on the ground and it felt really cold. I was leaning against the counter so I could feel it on my back, and I can hear their voice. It's a man's voice and it's young, like a teenager.
Very good. Now, can you think if you smelled anything while you were sitting on the ground?
I could smell gasoline or maybe some type of oil. It was faint, but I remember smelling that.
I'll take note of that. Now, lastly, try to remember what you could see.
Okay. I remember seeing a black hooded jacket with black pants, and now I remember he had on red sneakers. That was the only thing in his outfit that was a different color. And and he had a tattoo on his hand. I can't quite make out what it is. Maybe a flower?
Okay, we've made great progress. Thank you. Oh. So, what we just did was kind of a rough example of a cognitive interview, which has the goal of trying to help eyewitnesses not forget certain aspects of what they witnessed. And so, first, we're going to talk about what impacts forgetting. So, first of all, people could have a failure in acquisition, which just means that they might see something and just fail to pay enough attention to it. And so, they just might not learn it, which would result in forgetting information. Another thing is longer retention intervals, which is just the idea that as a longer time goes on from when something has been learned, it's more likely that someone might forget it just because memories can fade and erode over time. New learning could also interfere with older learning, which is the interference theory. And this is just the idea that new learning kind of disrupts older memories. Retrieval failure is another aspect of forgetting, which is the idea that a memory might be intact but just simply cannot be accessed. And this can be partial or complete.
So, next, our cognitive interview also had to do with memory errors, just because it's something that helps combat those. So, basically, our schemas or our expectations of a certain situation can basically lead us to make false memories. Since we have so many connections that serve as retrieval, some of them can just be wrong. So, in looking at this figure, you just see how easy it is to make a false connection and even make a false memory. So you see the green areas are the different sort of trips that people took, and then you have these connections in terms of like weather and the season, and you see that they made a mistake in thinking that their family reunion was during their summer break rather than their spring break. So that's just an example of a really easy um, false connection to make.
And so back to the idea of cognitive interviews. So the point of these interviews is trying to maximize the quantity and accuracy of information obtained from eyewitnesses. And so one big part of it is including context reinstatement, which we kind of did in our demonstration, such as thinking about maybe the senses that you were experiencing during the crime. It also serves to provide diverse retrieval cues with the idea that the more cues provided, the more likely it is to trigger a certain target memory in an eyewitness. And then it also goes with the idea of repeated retrieval and testing. And the more times you're asking about it, and the more times you're trying to access those memories, the less likely you are to forget something.
Okay, so going off of what Lucy said, these are some strategies to address that forgetting. So, visiting a memory frequently can help avoid forgetting. So, you can sort of tell by our little scenario before that we had our witness um, recall memory through different senses a couple of times to help them refresh that. And you also had periodically testing yourself. That can help with addressing forgetting, just because the more times you access that pathway, the easier it will be for you to recall. And you can also have self made quizzes, so that you have an understanding in your own words and you have more connections to make to your memories. And that can also decrease the likelihood of forgetting.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.